Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to another episode of Cycling Insider. In this episode of Cycling Insider, it's time to talk about felt bikes. I haven't talked about felt bikes before, but I came across few interesting models from felt bikes for 2020 season, and I think it's time we go deep and see what it's all about felt bikes in 2020. So, a little bit of history first. As you probably already know, Felt Bikes are a US founded company, founded in California in the 1990s. And I mean, pretty famous bicycle company founded by Jim Felt. And you have probably seen Felt bicycles being ridden in the pro peloton. Unfortunately, not in the last few years on the top levels of the professional cycling, but in some of the lower levels of the professional cycling, you can still see Felt bikes being ridden by the professional teams. Also, Felt bikes, you can probably see a lot of them in the triathlon world, where they are truly a famous brand. So for 2020 season, as I said, I have noticed a few interesting models from Felt bikes, and I'm gonna kick off with the Felt FR Advanced Ultegra for the 2020 season. So first thing first, I mean, who is this bike for? So this Felt FR range, FR Advanced range, is all about the lightest, stiffest climbing bikes. So if you are in the market for these kind of lightest and stiffest bikes and the climbing bikes, then definitely you should consider Felt FR Advanced models. They have some other models which I will feature, which are more oriented for the endurance and the long days in the saddle, and also some very interesting aero models, but this time it's all about climbing performance and the lightweight of the bikes. So, when you check the Felt's webpage, you're gonna see that the current asking price for the FR Advanced is 3,700 euros. So this is approximately 4,000 US dollars for all the people across the pond, or approximately 3,300 British pounds. So as you see, definitely not a cheap bike, but there are some very interesting components on this bike which can give certain reasons why they have priced it at 3,700 euros. But always keep in mind, as I say, that since Felt has a lot of bike dealers around the world, you should visit your local bike dealer who stocks Felt bikes, and you should negotiate nicely for the price of this bike. And I truly believe that you should be able to negotiate down to about 15% of this bike. So even if you drop it somewhere between 10 to 15%, let's say you could drop it for about 400 euros, this price, so you could get it for about 3,100, 3,200 euros, and then it's truly an interesting offering from Felt. The way it is now, 3,700 pounds, I think you should definitely negotiate. You shouldn't be paying this full asking retail price. When you look at the paint schemes of the bike, very interesting, you got two choices. One of them is this light blue and black, pretty classic choice and beautiful, it's like a metallic blue. And another one is another classic, red and black. And probably I would personally go with red and black, because we all know that the red is the fastest color. So jokes aside, let's check a little bit what kind of components you get for about 3,700 euros retail price. So let's start with the frame and fork. So the good thing with the frame and fork from Felt, as I read recently, from the 2019 year, all the frames and forks have limited lifetime warranty, which is brilliant. So even if something goes wrong with your frame or fork, you are covered with the lifetime warranty. So that's absolutely great. So this frame and fork are the Felt's Road UHC Advanced plus this Textrim carbon fiber. both frame and fork. So this is the top-notch frame and fork that Felt can produce. So with the lifetime warranty, definitely no problems here. Top choice from Felt. Of course, this frame and fork are ready for the 12mm through axles, both front and back, and also they are ready for the flat mount disc brakes. One interesting thing on this bike is that when it comes with the mechanical group set like this one is, all the cables are routed outside of the frame, which is a really rare sight these days. But I personally love it because it's so much more convenient for the servicing, and if anything goes wrong, it's so much easier to replace the cables. When they are inside, it can get a bit tricky because certain manufacturers didn't kind of route nicely the cables from the inside. So if you go with a mechanical group set like this one, you will get an external cable routing. If it's electronic group set, it will be internal cable routing. And one interesting thing on the fork is that it is a carbon fiber steerer tube, and I also forgot to mention that the rear mech hanger, rear derailleur hanger is aluminum piece, which is also nice because if you break it, it's easily replaceable with another aluminum piece. Headset, stem, handlebars, nothing special to mention here, except that with the handlebars you get a Devox carbon handlebars, which is a very nice addition to this bike. I'm not sure if the stem is a carbon fiber stem. They don't mention it here, so this is maybe a little area where you can check, is it also a carbon fiber stem. When it comes to the shifters, front mech and rear mech, here we have a Shimano's Ultegra mechanical group set. So Shimano's Ultegra R8020, so this is 11-speed mechanical group set. Or on the front and back you got a Shimano's Ultegra R8000. So top-notch shifting performance, top-notch mechanical group set, absolutely no complaints here. When it comes to the crankset, this is an interesting choice. So you're gonna get a Praxis crankset. Praxis Zayante Carbon, so a carbon fiber crankset, 52-36, and the length of the cranks are gonna depend on the bike size. So Praxis Zayante carbon crankset, I don't have experience with this crankset. I've heard some good reviews about it, and they are pretty light and of course stiff. So if anybody has any experience with the Praxis crankset, please leave the comments below so we can find out a bit more. So this is an interesting addition to the bike. They didn't go with, for example, Shimano's Ultegra crankset. They chose the Praxis Zayante Carbon. And of course, the bottom bracket then is the Praxis Works bottom bracket, 386 standard, 386 Evo standard. Again, don't have experience with this BBit 386 standard, so if anybody has experience with Praxis Zayante Carbon crankset and the Praxis Works bottom bracket, please do comment below. When it comes to the chain and cassette, cassette is 1130, so you see when you pair the cassette 1130 with the 5236 chain rings, you will definitely have enough low gear to climb the steep mountains. They don't mention here which cassette they have included. Is it, for example, a Shimano Ultegra level or maybe Shimano 105? The same story is with the chain. They don't mention is it a Shimano's Ultegra level chain, or they've maybe cut the corners a bit and included Shimano 105. So this is another area again to check with your local bike dealer just to be sure what you are getting for your money, and always it's a good area then to negotiate the price. When it comes to the braking performance, this bike comes with the Shimano's Ultegra hydraulic disc brakes. Front and back. The interesting thing is that on the front you got 160mm rotors and on the back 140mm rotors. So Shimano's Ultegra hydraulic disc brakes, absolutely top notch. I don't know what kind of braking rotors you get here. Is it the iStack Shimano's rotors, or again some cheaper versions of the rotors? Because when you look at the pictures, it would seem that they have included the RT800 rotors, just looking at the pictures, but again, another area to double check with your local bike dealer, just to be sure that you are getting the top level braking rotors. The thing that kind of little bothers me here is this 140mm rotor at the back. I never understand this move from the bike manufacturers. You will save, like few grams compared to the 160mm rotor, but the braking performance and heat dissipation is so much lower. So I would just stick with 160mm rotors always. Saddle is the Pro Logos dimension. Again, saddles are a personal preference. You might want to change this one, and when you find your saddle, I strongly recommend you to keep it. A nice addition is the Divox carbon fiber seat post, which is always great, always love it, 27.2mm in diameter. It will definitely soak up some of the smaller road bumps. When it comes to the wheels, another interesting choice on Felt. So here we have a full wheel set from Reynolds. This is the Reynolds AR41 carbon fiber wheel set, 41mm deep, 21mm inner width, with the Reynolds hubs front and back, 12mm of course through axles. Again, I don't have experience with Reynolds wheels. I have heard some good reviews about Reynolds wheels, especially about this AR41. So again, if somebody has experience with the full Reynolds AR41 wheel set and the Reynolds hubs, please do let us know in the comments below. When it comes to the tires, these are 25C tires, Vittoria Rubinho Pro. Top-notch tires, no complaints here. The only thing I would do in the future, since this bike can accommodate 28mm tires, when you destroy these ones, I would move to a 28mm tires, maybe something from the Continental range, or you can still stick with Vittoria or Schwalbe, some of these big tire brands. And at the end, I have to mention the bike weight, which is also very interesting, 7.37 kilograms. And I hope this is a bike weight for the size 56, 58. So this is a very competitive bike weight, because just keep in mind that when it comes to the professional bikes, you can drop their weight all the way to 6.8 kilograms. So this is a very competitive bike weight. So let's do a little summary of these bikes. So here we have a 2020 Felt FR Advanced Ultegra bike. So carbon fiber frame and fork from Felt, their UHC level advanced carbon fiber frame and fork, so top-notch carbon fiber frame and fork with a lifetime warranty. You got a Shimano's Ultegra mechanical shifting performance, so the shifters, front mech and the rear mech, everything is Shimano's Ultegra. You have Shimano's Ultegra hydraulic disc brakes with unfortunately 140mm rotor at the back, which would definitely need to be changed in my opinion. And some interesting choices include the Praxis Zayante carbon fiber chain rings. The chain set, and also the Reynolds AR41 carbon fiber wheels. And now small things to check, as I said, is please do check the cassette and the chain. Are they Shimano's Ultegra level or maybe some lower level? So all this for a retail price of 3,700 euros, which I think you should definitely negotiate to about 3,100, 3,200 euros, and then this bike is truly competitive. But a very interesting mix of components from Felt, I mean especially carbon fiber wheel set, carbon fiber chain rings, very interesting choice of the components on this Felt bike. So this is gonna be it for today. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, please do subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you are always notified when I make a new video. And as always, I will see you in the next episode. Pura Vida!